obviously help.
Way back.
No, seriously, I know that.
Just put it down to the road.
Okay.
Let's go. It's not deja vu.
Really?
No, they're not.
Actually, I'm using mechanical to actually navigate through this.
There are rats, yes, but they are in a cage. Occasionally you do see little mice about this bit running along the skirtings, but they probably won't happen.
What?
And they're very friendly, obviously, they're not going to harm
No, whoop you.
Is that everyone? Yes. Okay, hello, welcome. My name's Helen, I'm a member of staff at the Tombs, London Bridge Experience and the London Tombs, and I'm sort of in charge in terms of tomb staff tonight, so if you have any problems, come and see me and we'll try and help you out. Cool. Has anybody been here before not on Haunted Happenings? Has anyone been to see us during the day?
Yeah.
Ah, excellent. Well, for those of you who haven't, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we do during the day. I'm going to give you a walkthrough of the entire building so you have a little bit of a chance to get your bearings, because it can be a bit of a labyrinth, and tell you a little bit about the history both of the building and in terms of paranormal experiences, ghosts and sounds and things that have been seen by members of staff whilst they've been working here. So for those of you who haven't been to see us during the day, we are a two-part attraction. The first part is where you've just entered now. This is the first room of the London Bridge Experience section, which is a historical walkthrough, fun theatrical historical walkthrough. Tells you a bit about the history of London Bridge and the London Bridge area. You walk through the ages, it's a journey through time, and you meet actors along the way who'll tell you a little bit about the history of that time period in the full period costume, and hopefully give you a laugh and a few shocks along the way. So the first room that we're in today is called our Brownlow room. And you'd be given a little bit of an introduction to the building if you came here during the day, and then you'd be led through to one of the first shops, which is turned off now. The one thing I should mention before I tell you about any of the paranormal stories that we have to say is that I'm not here to convince you of anything. I'm not a paranormal investigator, I'm not allied with Haunted Happenings, and I'm not here to try and change your mind if you're a believer, if you're a skeptic, if you're a bit on the fence. I'm going to let you make up your own mind. I can tell you what I've experienced and what other members of staff have experienced whilst they've been here, and it's up to you to make up your mind whether you believe that, whether you see anything tonight. Everything within the building tonight is turned off, with the exception of that dripping noise you can hear at the moment. That's about the only sound effect that is impossible to get rid of. Other than that, all of your lights, all of your sounds and things are turned off. So noises that you hear aren't down to us, because the building should be dark and silent. So in terms of this room and paranormal experiences, the doorway that you came through, just as you came in, is home to a lovely shadowy figure that we like to call Shadow Man, simply because he takes the presence of a black shadowy shape. He's always seen out of the corner of people's eyes. When you look directly straight on, he does tend to disappear, but many members of staff over the 4 years that we've been open now have seen in that doorway, reported to see a dark shadowy figure standing with his arms crossed, blocking the entranceway. Particularly often in the morning, when people come to do switch on, turn all the lights and things on in the morning, they tend to see him, and they've got so used to seeing him now that they do tend to say good morning as they pass. Good morning to Shadow Man. So if he is around, good morning or good evening, Shadow Man, and maybe you will see him tonight. I think he's someone that some Haunted Happening events, somebody said that they'd been speaking to him at one point and that his name was Tom. I don't know whether that's true. We've always called him Shadow Man, but maybe if you get someone coming through who's called Tom, it might be Shadow Man. You'll have to wait and see, I guess. So we're going to move on down this corridor. If you let me through first.
Can't be too late. Be shouting out for him later. Come on. Shut up,
Ghost face. Sorry, but
That's a new one, isn't it?
I don't know. I think
Beware of trains.
yeah. Oh, is it?
Cheers. New cloak. That's new. I didn't have it here last time. I am the key master.
I'm the gatekeeper.
Chair. What's this?
Sit on the one in the middle there.
Chairs on. Can I lay down?
Well, there won't be space for anyone else if you lay down and have a sleep. There's a lot of it in it.
Only you.
So, this is what we know now as our Roman area. Those of you who haven't been to see us before, if you came before January of this year, you may know it as the Viking area. Or if you've been to any other Haunted Happenings events before about January of this year, you would know it as the Viking area. We do update our sets on a fairly regular basis, and we had a rather large overhaul of the upstairs experience at the beginning of the year, so some of the sets have changed if you've been to see us before. So if you come here during the day, you'll hear a little bit about the Romans, about Queen Boadicea, and you get to see our lovely mannequins who might freak you out as you come through in the darkness, so don't worry, they're not real people, and it's not a ghost, there's just various dummies around the place. And there's also, up the back there, is a horse, who's one of two real horses that we have, taxidermy horses, who are quite old and a little bit battered now, so best not to stroke him. Hopefully he won't give you diseases or bite, but yeah, you can look out for the other one. I'll point out the other one a bit further along. Sorry? Fleas, yes, full of fleas. Those of you who were walking through and said, oh, it smells a bit funny, some of those smells are just the general building smells, particularly when you get down to the tombs. There's a lot of damp walls and it does smell a little bit mouldy, but we also do pipe in various scents, the idea being that as you walk through the experience you get the smells of the various areas that you're coming through, including the great stench when you get a little bit further through history when all of the plumbing, well, non-existent plumbing blocked up and the River Thames became full of lots of excrement and dead fish and all sorts, and we like to pump that smell in just to give you a nice full experience. So in terms of supernatural activity in this room, this is one of the rooms that has some of the more interesting stories associated with it. The first is relating to a white figure, a girl in white, who, there was a girl, one of our actors, doing her Viking show, back when it was the Viking area, and was standing, was talking to her group, and in her group she had a young girl sitting watching, who just halfway through the show just put her hand up. And we don't normally do sort of question and answer, but she said, oh, have you got a question? Did you want to ask something? And the girl said, yeah, there's somebody watching you. I said, well, yeah, I'm an actor, I'm doing a show, there's a lot of you watching me, you're all sitting in front of me. And the girl said, no, she's not living. And she pointed over to the corner there, and said there was a white, shadowy figure of a girl just standing in the corner, watching what was going on, watching the experience. And the actor got quite freaked out by this and hurriedly finished up her show and moved the group on and went running back to the safety of the green room and all the bright lights. But it's happened a couple of times since then. It's always children who put their hands up and say that they've noticed the figure in the corner of the room. It's never the adults. And she's been named Emily by the upstairs actors. So if you do see a white figure, it may be Emily, although we don't know if that is her real name. So if you do get a chance to speak to her, you might be able to find out. The other story relates to, I've forgotten the name, sorry, Most Haunted, that's the one, there's a lot of haunted things. Do we have any Most Haunted fans amongst us?
Used to.
Used to be. Does that mean it's all gone downhill?
No, it's eventually doesn't always.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Well, has anybody seen the Most Haunted episode where they came here and we almost killed Carl? Yeah. Yes, well, yes, with the coffin, exactly. This was the room that we almost killed Carl in. When Most Haunted rang up our general manager James, who you will hear quite a lot about on this history tour, because a lot of the stories do include him and his intrepid bravery. When they rang James up and said they wanted to come and film here, one of the first questions they asked was, do you have a coffin? If you ring up most working environments and ask them that, they're probably likely to think you're pretty balmy, but us being the kind of place we are, said, yeah, of course, we've got a lovely coffin. It's made out of perspex, you're welcome to use it. And it's sealed, it's a perspex coffin, it's sealed on 3 sides, with one side open, that has a hinge door that opens up to the air. And they were told that they were allowed to use it on the proviso that the open side was always left open to the air, so it was not placed over the top of him, that he was always able to get out and that he'd be able, easily able to exit it. And when they came to film, they asked that all of the staff left the building, and it was just their cameraman and Carl and 1 security guard, and everyone else watched from a van outside. So James was out there in the van and watched as they carefully got the perspex coffin and lowered it over the top of him with the open side facing downwards. And they left him there, and they watched on screen, and the coffin gradually started to mist up. And at one point, a very loud bang was heard, which is audible on the sound recording from the tape from that night. And it misted up to the point where they couldn't really see Carl. And James started to worry at this point, said, no, look, somebody's got to go in there, we've got to go in and just check everything's okay. And they went in with 2 big, burly security guys, and there were no signs of life coming through the coffin apart from a slight twitching of Carl's hand. That was the only movement that was coming. It was fully misted up. And it took 2 large, very large, burly security guards to lift this fairly lightweight perspex coffin, but it took a lot of effort for them to get the coffin back off of Carl, lift it up off him. They said it was very heavy, as if it was stuck to the floor, and he was coughing and spluttering and really quite white by the time he came out. But those of you who do watch Most Haunted know that he's still alive and well, so we didn't actually quite manage to finish him off, but we did almost kill Carl, and this was the room that it happened. We're going to walk through in just a minute, come through these doors, but before we do, you'll notice on the left-hand side, before we go through the double doors, there's a sealed door which leads into a cupboard. Not very interesting cupboard, storage cupboard. Door is permanently locked, unless you're going in there and you have the key. But one night, James, our lovely, intrepid and very brave general manager here, was here with another lady. They both had strong torches. They were doing some work on the set, and they heard a noise, and they looked up, and they saw a dark figure walking from what is now a walkway on the right-hand side through, and went straight through the door, the locked door to the cupboard. When they pointed the torch at it, the torchlight disappeared as if it had been swallowed up into something, and the figure looked at them and then just carried on walking, went straight through the locked door. And they went up, tried the door afterwards, still locked. He opened it up, there's no sign of anything inside, at which point they both probably ran off and hid somewhere, which is a little bit of a thing James likes to do quite often, as you'll probably hear as we continue around the building. So we're going to head through these doors. You can look at the